and there were kit forms, and I built all the way up to the big TV, which we had until, what, 1992 or something like that?
We were in,
Is that right?
Barrington, Illinois.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And it was still working. What was kind of unique about the TV, it had its own test system in it, that if anything failed, you could do
Right.
testing and it would identify.
You
what
made that
sickness-
before you came to the school?
I made that, no, I did that after.
Okay.
Before I came to school, I did the radio, the little bedside radio. I did a oscillator to learn Morse code, and I went
Oh,
through that
wow.
as well.
And where did you
Uh,
live at this time?
Huh?
Where did you live?
In Harlem.
Harlem.
Yeah, on
Don't forget I used to take all my
142nd Street,
stuff
Edgecombe
apart
Avenue,
too.
huh?
Take all my stuff
Yeah.
apart.
So, did all that.
Yeah.
Please.
My father asked me, he came the first day to the school, and it's hard for you to realize it. We had the old incandescent light bulbs, so
Okay.
they're sort of yellow in
Right.
color,
Yeah.
not very bright.
Yep.
So you come into the building, and he looks around, and he said, "Son, you sure you wanna come to this place?" I said, "Yeah, this is it." They had an airplane hanging from the ceiling.
Right.
And I said, "Yep, this is it." So that's where I ended up at. I did my academic in the morning and shop work in the afternoon.
Okay.
My first class started 7 o'clock in the morning. And when they moved out here, I said, "Boy, this is gonna be something."
Yeah.
I had to take 2 subways and to get out here in a bus,
Right.
to get out here on time, never late, never missed a class in my
That's great.
entire time in school. I came out with my P license, and I didn't stay because you had to do another 6 months in order to get the airframe.
Right.
Because I had signed up for the Air Force. Matter of fact,
Okay.
and I had, it's a big picture. I had a picture. The guys that were in my training boot camp, I had, I think it was around 10 or 12 of us that actually graduated
Oh, is
out
that
of this
right?
class. We
Oh,
all
wow.
went into the Air Force at the same time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we finished training. The odd thing is, out of that 12, 15, I think only 2 guys ended up in aviation. The rest,
Oh, is that right?
the rest, the Air Force in their infinite wisdom, some of them became firemen, some went to police, but there was a couple that went to aviation. I didn't go to aviation. They put me into heavy equipment.
Oh.
So I went to Fort Belvoir, Virginia, to learn about working on Caterpillar bulldozers and truck-mounted cranes
Oh, wow.
and snow blowers and
Right.
plows. So I graduated out of there, and naturally they sent me to a place that needed people to work on snow plows, and that was Maine.
Ah,
Limestone
okay.
Air Force Base, Maine. I
And this
went
is
up
all
there.
during the height of the Cold War.
Yeah, I went up there to, had the B-52 bombers up there on alert,
Right.
and we had, the snow plowers and snow blowers made by Oshkosh,
Okay.
which they still do today. And, I said, "I'm a mechanic, I'm an aircraft mechanic, I got my P license." So I would go to the, base commander, I must have gone to him 3 or 4 times, telling him, you know, and he finally said, "I'm tired of seeing you." You know, he says, "There's a bypass specialist test that you can take. And if you pass it, we'll put you in aviation. If you fail, I don't want to see you anymore." I said, "That's a deal." So I said, "I need 30 days to do some prepping." So I go, I take the test, I pass. So then they assign me over to the aviation squadron on 123 aircraft and T-33
Oh,
jets.
wow.
And I stayed there. And then the nuclear power plant operator school came up, and I applied, took tests, got qualified. They said, "The only problem, you can't go because you don't have enough time left to your enlistment.
Oh.
But if you extend, we'll let you into school." I
Right.
said, "Okay," so I extended my enlistment. That's why I ended up with more than 4 years. So I extend my enlistment, I'm getting all ready to head down to nuclear power plant operator school. And then they tell me, the military decided to use only civilians to operate the thing, so
Oh.
now you're stuck. I said, "Well,
Just extended, yeah.
what happened?"
Yeah.
"I'm extended." So they said, "Well, we can find it, we got a need for you. We're
Right.
gonna send you to Vietnam,
Oh.
I said, where? So that,
What year
at
was
that
this?
time, this is 1962, end of
Wow, it's
62,
early.
going to 63. I said, where? He said, Vietnam. We need people over there to teach people how to be engine mechanics. And he said, you fit the bill.
Oh, wow.
So they sent me to Fort Walton Beach, Florida, at Greeley Field 9, and that's where we formed what they called the first Air Commando Group. That was the first time it was put together, and we're basically going to go train the Vietnamese on our old airplanes that we took out of storage. We had B-26s, which
Wow.
date back to World War
Yeah,
II.
right.
AD-5s, which were Navy airplanes. So we had all that, but then they also had classes there to teach you somewhat of the culture of the Vietnamese and
Oh,
taught
wow.
you some basic language skills on Vietnamese language. And then one night they came, said, okay, we're going. But they said you couldn't tell anybody where you're going. So my mother didn't know. She knew I went to Hawaii, but that was just a stop.
Ah, gotcha.
And then I went from Hawaii to the Philippines. We didn't go to the base, we stayed at the embassy. And then from the embassy, they flew us into Vietnam.
How many of you went?
At that time, it was about 125
Oh, wow.
Americans, that's all. All the rest were,
Right.
and we went to a base called Van Hoa in Vietnam. Matter of fact, we went back in, 2007 for the first time.
You visited, wow.
Went back to Vietnam.
Yeah, wow.
It was about we was a cruise on the ship. We probably had, about maybe 300 guys that had been there. This is long after me,
Sure,
but
yeah,
not
right.
in my time frame.
Right.
There's some, and we had like little counseling sessions on the ship, because some guys really, really had some hard times dealing with their time and encounter in Vietnam.
Right.
And we talked about it. Some of them we could not get to go on ashore.
Wow.
But the thing that got me, and I told my
This
wife
is
at the time,
62, you said, right?
soon, yeah,
Right.
as soon as I walked out the door of the ship, the smell came. Remember it all. The smell, the unique cooking of rice and different things. That smell hit us,
Sure, yeah.
and I told her, I said,
All the
it
memories
all came back.
Yeah, right.
So then we went to what they called, the Vietnamese had, they called it a reunification center.
Right.
And they said, well, you were here before, we forgive you, we understand you guys were here with the direction of your government, and we want to normalize relationships. And then they sort of took us on a tour of their reunification center. So then we went from there to
Sorry. Hello?
the Metropole Hotel. What's
Sorry.
unique about the Metropole Hotel is that that's where I was operated on. When I was in Vietnam, I had what they inguinal hernia, and they told me if my intestines dropped through, I would know the pain of childbirth. They said that's how painful it would be. So they medevaced me from Ben Hoa down to Saigon
Sorry.
to the Metropole Hotel, which the Navy converted into a hospital. The operating room was in the garage, and that's where I got operated on, was by one of the commanders from the Navy, surgeon.
I missed them. So what were you
This
getting
was
operated
in
for?
1963,
You got
and
it.
this was for hernia.
Oh,
Okay.
gotcha.
So then, go through the operation, and a little later, he came, he said, well, we gotta keep you guys, keep you ambulatory, because we're in a war environment, and we need you to be able to move.
At
He
this
says,
point, the French were fighting against the.
no, the French were there, we
Right.
were there in,
Like
we
an
were there but
advisory-
not there.
Right, right.
Okay?
Right.
We were there helping them and training them,
Right.
but if you saw in the press, we were not there.
Right, right.
Okay? And,
Something Kennedy.
yeah, so he says, what it will take to get you out of bed? So I said, if you can get me some Butter Almond ice cream, that'd be great. So somewhere he found butter almond ice cream. I mean, big gallon thing. And I ate all I could, and then I had to get up. So then after that, they had me walking around, and when I'm now down in the street, I said, well, they have what we used to call them greasy spoon carts. That's where they cook the soup, the different stuff for the Vietnamese. And I said, well, let me go get some soup. And I said, if that doesn't kill me, I'm okay. So I ate soup, it was great. And less than a week, they sent me back to Benoit. So we're back there doing the training. What was kind of comical is that the airplanes were shipped over there disassembled. They were put on skids, and we had to, the wing sections were on one, the fuselage on another, the engines on another, and we had to put them together and then operate them.
Wow.
So, why I'm laughing is that the 85 is a Navy airplane, and we're Air Force, okay? So we put the airplane together, and we put the engine on and all that, and now we'll go out to do a test run on the engine to make sure it's okay. So we get the engine started, and it goes to full power and goes bang down on his nose, because it's a tri-wing airplane. It went bam down on his nose. Oh my God, what happened? So we ended up looking at it. Come on. We end up looking at it, and we find out, we put another engine on, another propeller on, and the end result is we try it again, and the same thing happens. So we did something kind of unique. We said we need to go get some help, okay? So we called the Navy, and the Navy comes out, and we tell them what's going on. We put another engine, another propeller on. We said, we're not going to start it until they come out. They said, you guys they should have shipped you a bypass rod. I said, what do you mean bypass rod? So some red rod was sitting on the floor, but he said, that's it there. So we said, what's this for? It was all a funny angle. I said, what is this for? He says, that's the bypass, because Navy airplanes, if it's shot up and it lose oil pressure, it's made to go to full power to be able to get them back to the carrier. Okay? He said, but this bypass is because you got no oil pressure. You put the bypass in, so you're doing it mechanical, okay, to get it started. Once oil pressure's up, then you take that off, and then you can reconnect it. Because it was actually, the engines were being controlled through back then, through oil pressure and a valve that controlled it. So
That makes sense. Yeah.
all right, so we did that, successful. So now we're there, we're living, we go back and forth to Saigon in a little hooch thing, putt-putts. We couldn't wear uniforms because supposedly we were not there.
Right.
So it was, 4 black guys there, and I was the youngest of those guys. And we go to town, and we go to a bar, and as soon as we walk through the door, they say, "Hi, American." So I said, well, there goes the secret of us not being here, right? So it was, we did that, and we were there maybe about 7 months. And they had a coup. Dinh was ousted. Remembering now, it's only 125 Americans, and we're like in the center of a Vietnamese base. We don't know which way these guys are going to go. The other thing is, all our weapons were in the armory. We didn't carry weapons. So now we're sitting there. Our commander says, they're sending airplanes from Japan to come pick us up because we don't know which way this government is going to go.
Right.
Okay? So I'm saying, how am I going to get my tape recorder home? That's what I'm thinking, because I bought a reel-to-reel tape recorder over there, very cheap, and I'm saying, how am I going to get this home? And they're telling me, no, you can't take anything. And I'm trying to figure a way to get this home. By the way, I still have that real.
Oh, wow.
I've seen
okay?
that.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, by the time we all put together, ready to go, they come back, they said, no, they're gonna be, supportive of the US, we don't have to get out, but now we're going to a wartime thing, we're no longer training, we're now in a combat. And, we had, now our own pilots coming in with their airplanes that we had to take care of, C-47s and stuff like that. There's a little story, sideline story, of being careful how you treat people. When I went to 7-level school some years back in Wichita Falls, Texas, I had orders that said, because I was at that time a staff sergeant, I didn't have to live on the base. So I get there and the first sergeant says, you need to live on the base. So I told my order, I don't need to live on the base, I live off the base. So he said, oh, okay. So I go through 7 levels, I finish it. So now when we go to the wartime activity in Vietnam, we get in new officers, new first sergeants, and guess who the first sergeant comes in? Was the guy I encountered in Texas, right? And I swear, his goal was to get me killed. Because anytime one of our airplanes went down, even if I was off, he would send people out to find me, to send me out to fix the airplane, to get it back. And then when he sent me out with the part we think we need, if I fixed the airplane, that was my ride back. If I didn't fix it, I'm stuck.
Right.
Okay? So you became very creative in your skills of being able to fix the airplane. I even stole some batteries out of Vietnamese airplanes to put in house. Huh?
You must have scavenged other planes.
Yeah, I did,
Right.
rightfully. So,
Thank you.
But that's what happened there. And then you're supposed to do 1 year in Vietnam, and you don't leave until your replacement came.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
My replacement, they had none reflection that my replacement was coming. And they said, well, it looked like you'll have to stay longer. I said, no, I'm not gonna stay longer. So then finally, they got a name. I had like a day and a half to get out. They said, oh, you don't have enough time to process out. I said, believe me, I'm gonna process out of here. And I made my time and I got out of there. I flew 25 hours straight in backwards, because back then the military had you sitting in the airplane backwards. You know, they felt if you crash, you would handle it better that way than forward. So I flew from Vietnam to Hawaii to San Francisco to New York, and I was out. That did it. But that's
What year was that?
1964.
Cool.
But then you were in reserves though, right?
No, 1964 I wasn't in reserve. I was in active duty. I did 4 years, 3 months, and 11 days of active duty, okay?
And all that time counted towards your
All
Charles Taylor work?
Yeah, all that counted toward my Charles Taylor.
Oh, nice.
Okay? So then,
Yeah, there's coffee and bagels there.
yeah, I took him and went to get a job. As a little sideline, when I went to Vietnam, I didn't come home. I went to Savannah with my wife then, but my girlfriend back then, and I went from there over Vietnam to Hawaii, supposedly.
Mrs. Bruce, are you from
Yeah.
Georgia?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, how'd you guys meet?
Huh?
How'd you guys meet then?
From lived next door to me in New
Oh,
York.
gotcha.
She came up in the summer. So that's when my mother told me I was gonna marry, because I didn't come home to
Right.
them, okay?
Yes.
But now we get back, I get a job at Pratt & Whitney, Engine Experimental Department,
Oh,
worked there
nice.
for a while,
Where?
in East Hartford, Connecticut.
Right, Connecticut.
Yeah, worked
They
there.
just hired a bunch of our students
Oh, yeah,
2 weeks ago.
I worked there in the experimental department, did that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but the commute back and forth to New York, she was in New York, I was back and forth, so I finally got an opportunity to go work for Pan Am. But that's interesting,
Oh, the shit didn't bring
They had, I had an interview, and, when I was back, I was in, the VA hospital for my hand, and, I couldn't work. So, the VA was paying you. So, when I did my employment history, it showed, this gap that I wasn't working. So the gentleman who was interviewing me says, how do you live? I said, well, I made it by, I got my VA disability while I'm out in
There's
the VA
that,
hospital.
okay. Sorry.
And then my
You
wife
should've
was
brought it with
working,
you.
although she's pregnant, she's gonna have to stop work shortly.
I'm sorry.
He said, well, no,
At
I
this point,
think,
you're at,
yeah,
you're still
this
Pratt?
is, for,
Pratt or you're Pan Am?
this is Pan Am.
Okay.
So he says, I think you're lazy. So I said, no, I'm not. And he says it a couple of times, and finally I said, well, you know what? You know, we can spend the whole day here, you calling me lazy, I'm telling you I'm not. I said, the only way you're gonna find out if I'm lazy or not is to hire me. He said, you're hired. Okay, so I worked for them for 13 years, and, I put in for every management position that came up on the board. Didn't get any. So I come home one day, you know, I says, there's a management job on the kitchen table there. So I pick up the newspaper, I look at it, it was for Seaboard Airlines,
Right.
which is located
Seaboard?
in, located in Kennedy Airport.
Okay.
But the position was in Frankfurt, Germany.
Oh, wow.
So I said, this is in Germany. She said, it's a management job. If you were looking for a management job, there you go. The other, I don't want to hear any more about wanting to be in management. So I go and apply for the job, and I get it, and I'm off and running to Germany. And I
Wow.
used to.
Where in Germany?
Frankfurt,
Oh, wow.
but I didn't stay there long because then they got a big contract out of for 747. Working at Pan Am, I learned a lot because we were a launch airline for 747.
Right.
So they had 3 747s that were going to fly from Amsterdam to New York and pick up IBM piece parts, fly it to Amsterdam, and they would assemble the service. And then they were flying back, and that was the contract that Seaboard Airline had. So they sent me up there because I had 747 experience. Although I wasn't going to work on the airplane, we contracted work from the Dutch airline at that time to do maintenance for us, and I oversaw the maintenance. So on Friday evening, when the airplane would come back to the States, I would hop on and fly back, get here on Saturday, and then I'd go home, and I'd go do things with them. I'd go to the movies, and as soon as the lights went up, I was like this, and then we did the,
And home was
Little
Harlem
League.
at this point?
Huh?
Home was Harlem at this point?
No, we're now in the Bronx.
Bronx, okay.
Yeah, and, we did that. I'd fly back on Sunday, get back there Monday, and I would do it. Then, what's right?
I think it's your name.
If everyone's bagels, this is the
Oh.
bagel slice.
Then they,
This will slice it open. Yeah. It's a little messy, but it's good to use.
It works.
Yes.